So, we are right outside Capitol Reef right now in a free dispersed camp spot.
Where is Brian Laundrie? The search continues for the missing man whose fiancee, Gabby Petito, was found dead earlier in the week. Today, Dog the bounty hunter was seen knocking on the front door of the Laundrie's family home.
Let me ask you a question. Do you know how he did it? Did he knock her upside the head or did he choke her out? Were her eyes open?
Where do you have him? Do you have him in the White House basement with Creepy Joe? Or did Cassie eat him?
Hey, what's up? My name is Patrick, and this is part 2 of my series on Gabby Petito. If you haven't seen part 1, I will link it below. Go watch that first so this makes more sense. In the first part, I mostly focused on Gabby, but in this part, I'm going to focus on the person who most likely took her life, and that would be her fiance, Brian Laundrie. The TikTok kids have nicknamed Brian Dirtyfoot.
If they don't find Brian Laundrie, it's gonna birth a whole new legend. Like, instead of Bigfoot sightings, there's gonna be Dirtyfoot sightings. And then his call, instead of, like, you know how you call Bigfoot by, like, banging some wood against a tree? Dirtyfoot's call is gonna be, you just take some plastic and then bang some plastic against the tree, and that's Dirtyfoot's call.
I kind of like that nickname, so I will be referring to him as Dirtyfoot throughout this video. So Dirtyfoot Brian Laundrie is 23. He has a father named Christopher, a mother named Roberta, and an older 31-year-old sister named Cassie. Together, the family is called the Dirty Laundries. Dirtyfoot is from Long Island, New York, and in middle school, Brian was about 40 pounds heavier and he had 0 friends, and he sat at a lunch table with just 2 other kids. Brian went to Bayport Blue Point High School in Long Island, and it was in high school that Brian lost a bunch of weight and cut his hair. In high school, Brian had 4 very close friends, but he was still known as someone who was very shy and kept to himself. Dirtyfoot and his friend group all had an interest in guns, and of course the gun laws in New York are very strict. So even at a young age, Brian always talked about wanting to move to Florida, in part because there are pretty much no gun laws there. Gabby actually went to the same high school as Brian, but they didn't start dating until after high school. They just knew of each other and had some of the same friends. Brian's friend said that Brian was never into social media and didn't have any kind of social media presence at all until he got with Gabby. And Gabby, of course, wanted to be a social media influencer. Despite being very quiet and all that, Brian was also very smart and got really good grades throughout school. Like Gabby, Dirtyfoot was also artistic, and he shared a lot of his drawings on his Instagram, Bizarre Designs, which was recently deleted. They're pretty disturbing. There's a lot of pictures of like sheeps being led to slaughter. There's a lot of gore, death, violence, demons, that kind of stuff. In March of 2019, Brian and Gabby had their first date together on the beach. They lived together in Cassie's house with her husband for a bit. Then a couple years ago, they moved down to Northport, Florida and lived with Brian's parents, Christopher and Roberta. A friend of Roberta's named Brittany Coleman has actually recently come forward to say that Roberta hated Gabby. She said that Gabby had a laundry list of mental health problems. She slept all day, she was irresponsible with money, she drank and smoked Mary Jane. Gabby wasn't grateful and didn't help around the house. She also couldn't hold down a job. And Brittany said that Brian was just a nice guy who tried to go along with all of Gabby's crazy whims. And actually, Roberta apparently wanted Brian to marry Brittany rather than Gabby. A former co-worker of Dirtyfoot's, Michael Livingston, who worked at a garden supply store with him, remembered Brian as being quick-tempered, and he described him as a weirdo yoga nut who was always telling him to keep his zen, even though he couldn't seem to keep his own. Michael said that Gabby would sometimes visit Brian at work, and anytime Brian saw Gabby talking to another man, he would go and put his arm around her and kiss her, do the whole boyfriend thing. As I talked about in detail in my last video, on July 2nd of this year, Gabby and Brian set out on a cross-country trip in Gabby's 2012 Ford Transit Connect, which they converted as a camper to live in. If you want to know details of the trip, you can go watch part 1 of this video. We now know that Brian strangled Gabby sometime between August 27th and August 30th. And it was actually on September 1st that Brian returned to his parents' house in Northport with Gabby's van, but no Gabby. Around this time, Brian's parents reached out to their lawyer, Stephen Bertolino.
I've been the Laundrie family attorney for well over 20 years.
On September 4th, Brian was caught with an older woman, believed to be Roberta, buying a new cell phone at a local AT&T. Gabby's family was recently on the Dr. Phil show, and they said that they had tried contacting the Dirty Laundries many times about their daughter, who they hadn't seen since August 27th. But each time they called them, all they got were voicemails. They said they tried texting them too, but still nothing. Even when her family texted that they were going to go to the police, they got nothing. On September 11th, Gabby's mother reported her daughter missing. When cops went to talk to Dirtyfoot, the Dirty Laundries stopped them at the door and gave them contact information for their lawyer and said if they had any questions that they could go talk to their lawyer. Gabby's mother told Dr. Phil that once cops told her that the van was at Brian's house, she had a maternal instinct that Gabby was no longer alive. On the evening of September 13th, Dirtyfoot was really upset and sad when he told his parents he was going to go for a hike at the Carlton Reserve in Venice, Florida, just a few minutes from their house. He never came back, but Brian's parents didn't report him missing for 3 days after that, on September 17th actually. They told police they were really worried about Brian's mental health, and they barely mentioned Gabby. Almost immediately, the story became an international story, and each morning at the crack of dawn, a group of people would protest outside the Laundrie house.
Where did you take Brian? Justice for the Petito family. You were traveling with Brian. We seek justice for Gabby and justice for victims of all domestic violence. Cooperate with authorities now. You need to come out and cooperate with authorities now, Laundrie family. We are out here. We are loud, and we are not going to leave.
And nicknamed them the Dirty Laundries.
See the white laundry basket in the front yard. Their last name is Laundrie, and some people in the community have now been protesting, picketing them by throwing laundry baskets in the front yard and yelling, "Dirty laundry, dirty laundry."
Some of these daily protesters are some interesting characters. There's Marissa Zelinsky, who drove all the way from Hershey, Pennsylvania.
I'm here for Gabby, not you. And I'm going to make a request. Now that you're listening, and I promise I'll never come back, can you please come out here and face the media and plead with your son to turn himself in? That's all. That's it. Nobody's getting hurt. Just reminding them of who lived here one time.
He was on Wife Swap years ago.
Very different women. A religious farm mom.
We gave up everything to move to this farm.
And a Vegas party mom.
I'm very well known as Big Juicy, the over-the-hill party girl.
Swap lives for 2 weeks.
Hope you survive.
Bye!
Nice to meet you.
Marissa's appearance, I don't think it's appropriate.
We are 2 worlds apart.
I've never seen anything good come out of alcohol.
I've never killed an animal before.
Oh my God! I'm talking!
I have never seen a more disrespectful child.
When the rules change, they turn each other's worlds upside down.
My rules. Big Juicy's house.
And letting you go.
That's very unchristian.
Has anybody ever called you a bigot?
I'm not a bigot.
And when the wives finally come face to face, it's fireworks.
Can I ask you why you dress the way you do?
You're a horrible Christian.
I will link her episode below. You should watch it if you need a laugh because it's hilarious. She also has her own true crime channel on YouTube called Molly Go Lightly. There is Andrea Griffin, who actually sued Christopher Laundrie for removing one of her signs from his lawn.
You guys are murderers. You guys are a murderous son. What were you thinking helping your son? What were you thinking? Huh? You guys have blood on your hands too. You have blood on your hands. You helped your son escape responsibility and you should be held accountable for that. Shame on you. Shame on your Laundrie family. Shame on you.
And these people were just really frustrated with the Dirty Laundries because they felt that they had information. So Dirtyfoot's sister Cassie has really been the only one of the Laundries speaking, and on September 17th, she actually gave an interview to Good Morning America.
Me and my family want Gabby to be found safe. She's like a sister and my children love her. And all I want is for her to come home safe and sound and this to be just a big misunderstanding.
Laundrie's sister Cassie says even she hasn't spoken to her brother since he returned to his home in Florida from his and Gabby's cross-country trip without Gabby.
I haven't been able to talk to him. I wish I could talk to him. I've cooperated every way that I can. I wish I had information or I would give more. This is all I have. A wonderful uncle. He's always been there when I need him. He's been there every time Gabby's needed him.
She said the fight that Gabby and Brian had on that police body cam video seemed typical to her, which is kind of disturbing because that shouldn't be typical for any relationship. Cops and the FBI searched the Carlton Reserve, which is about 25 acres of swampy area with alligators and snakes. They searched for Brian using all kinds of equipment, but they couldn't find him. On September 19th, Gabby Petito's body was found in Wyoming, and it was later determined that her cause of death was strangulation. So the media attention on this case kept getting bigger and bigger. John Walsh from America's Most Wanted chimed in, and he even advised Brian to off himself.
Do the right thing, Brian. In your whole life, you've never done anything brave. You're just a coward. So go out there in the woods somewhere, but at least so we know where your body is, so the Dirty Laundrie mom and dad can bury you somewhere, because I know what it's like not to have a body to bury. All I got they found of Adam's remains was his severed head. So kill yourself somewhere and spare this family from a horrible trial. So Brian, the right thing for you to do is go somewhere and off yourself and save everybody a lot of trouble. I say kill yourself now and save people lots of money.
Reality TV show star Dog the Bounty Hunter actually showed up at the Dirty Laundries on September 25th. No one answered the door, of course, but Roberta called 911.
10-4 to 714, the female Roberta from that 1020 called it on 911. We just had the female from that 1020 call in on 911, reference the situation with the male.
Yeah, it's once you arrive or if you're already there and the occupants are requesting us to come up, just go ahead and go to the house and assist, and just to keep the peace. But if they're not requesting us to come up, then just stay back and make sure that everything's good. The main subject has already cleared the scene. All right, just go ahead and make contact with the complainant.
Same day, Dog announced that he was on the case, and he shared some of his theories.
You know, the strongest lead I see is that one of her friends said he had been in the Appalachian Mountains by himself for a couple months. Now, he's not just a camper then, he is a outdoorsman. So in order to do that, I think because of his age, he felt comfortable. If there's anywhere right now that looks the hottest, that could be the area. You know, the only reason I would doubt if he's in the swamp is they've been hunting it really good. That was him 100%. He's in the swamp. Okay, and then so he moves in the night, and he probably sleeps up in the day. Now, the FBI has ultraviolet light tracking. Remember the Boston bomber? How they found the kid in the boat when they went over and the tarp was over him? They've got that. So I'm sure they're using that to cover with drones. I mean, he can't cover with mud. It's not Arnold Schwarzenegger. He can't cover with anything. He's going to light up. You know, I don't think he went to New York, or there's been a couple rumors he might have went to Mexico. I've been to Mexico. So if he's down there wanted, a white boy that doesn't know Spanish, the cartel's going to grab him for the reward. So no, he's not down there. You know, I don't think. Who knows?
The circus outside the Laundrie's house got even bigger.
I want to see them. I want to see the FBI drag these people out and give some answers. This does not make sense. This is, listen, I got free speech too. You can lawyer up, but I got free speech too. And I'm not trying to be a drama queen, but the more that I see, everyone is reacting to this. The whole world. For a guy on the loose, and let me tell you something else, and you can quote me on this. If Dog the Bounty Hunter finds Brian Laundrie, I'm never paying taxes again.
Their neighbors started renting out their lawns to the media for thousands of dollars a day. The protesters actually went around and talked to the neighbors, and the neighbors told them that they heard screaming coming from the Laundrie's home all the time. One of the neighbors got so frustrated with all of the noise that he came out to confront the protesters, and he actually got arrested.
Ugly scenes as tempers flare outside the home of Brian Laundrie's parents.
Come on my property again. I go on your property. I'm gonna think you're to prison, buddy. Okay. You're going to prison. You're going to prison. Call 911. You're going to prison. Call 911.
The Laundrie home has been under siege since Gabby Petito's homicide and Brian's disappearance.
Come out. Come out and cooperate with authorities.
Answers. Where is your son?
Constant protests have the whole street on edge, and it finally reached the boiling point after one neighbor had a meltdown, accusing a protester of trespassing. He was charged with battery and simple assault.
The Dirty Laundries themselves actually stayed pretty calm and quiet inside most of the time.
Do you guys feel guilty about Gabby? Is there a reason the FBI thinks you're not telling the truth? Do you know where Brian's passport is? Do you have anything to say about Gabby? A lot of the neighbors think you guys know more than you're saying. They're dropped off the sign. They want you to know that they're concerned that you guys know more than you're saying.
And the people started sending flowers to the Dirty Laundries house. They even pooled money together to hire an airplane.
A group on TikTok airing a message quite literally to the Laundrie family. A banner plane organized by a group on TikTok calling for justice for Gabby, saying in the banner message, TikTok, time's up. Hey there. That plane right now is continuing to circle over the Laundrie home and will do so for 2 hours.
Meanwhile, Gabby's family held a press conference, and they were so humble and so grateful.
I'd actually like to thank all you guys, all right, ladies and gentlemen of the media, press, especially the people that are behind the camera. All right, they don't get enough credit for what it is that they do, and so I do appreciate all them. Social media has been amazing, so I'd just like to thank everyone, for that. I do. It is greatly appreciated. That was very helpful in bringing our daughter home.
They said the Dirty Laundries didn't help them find Gabby, so they didn't expect them to help them find Brian. They also showed tattoos that they all got of some of Gabby's designs. They also announced the launch of the Gabby Petito Foundation, which will raise money for scholarships and missing people and victims of DV. I'll put a link to their foundation in the description box. But yeah, the family just wanted some good to come from their tragedy, and some already has. During the search for Gabby, the bodies of 9 other missing people were found. During the press conference, Gabby's father said that the amount of attention that was given to Gabby,
The media has been amazing and very influential. And to be honest, it should continue for other people too. This same type of heightened awareness should be continued for everyone. And that goes for you all too.
One thing the family said that I thought was really cool is that they wanted Gabby's YouTube channel to get to 1 million subscribers so that they could get a YouTube plaque, because that was always a goal of Gabby's while she was alive. So I'll link Gabby's YouTube below. Definitely go subscribe to it. As Gabby's family mourned, the search for Dirtyfoot went into overdrive. There were sightings of him in other parts of Florida, Alabama, Mexico, the Bahamas.
Got a tip today from Freeport in the Bahamas. And a lady there believes she spotted him, and she thinks that she said, there's never a white guy, looked exactly like this guy walking in our neighborhood. You can take a ferry from Fort Lauderdale to the Bahamas.
One guy called 911 saying he saw Brian in the Appalachian Trails.
Haywood County 911, what's the location of your emergency?
Well, I'm on the highway right now, but I ran into Brian Lauer just a little while ago. And as I turned around and I'm coming back by him, he's waving his arm out of his truck, like for me to slow down. He was talking wild. He said that his girlfriend loved him and he had to go out to California to see her. And he was asking me how to get to California. I went and parked and pulled up the photographs of him. And I'm 99.99% sure that was him.
Another guy was actually roughed up by the FBI on the Appalachian Trails because they thought he looked like Brian Laundrie. On October 3rd, the Dirty Laundrie's lawyer said that Brian's sister Cassie had actually seen him twice since he returned home on September 1st. So this didn't really match with her telling Good Morning America that she hadn't spoken to him. The people that were protesting outside of the Laundries moved over to protest outside of Cassie's house because they believed that she was a liar.
Great cloud over your head for the rest of your life.
It's not going to go easy on you and your
rest of
family
your
for
life.
enabling a murderer to escape.
Give them up.
Give him up. Where is
Give
your
them
brother?
Give them up. Do the right thing.
Brian?
Don't be so soulless like your brother, that evil monster. He's an evil monster. You have evil blood in your veins.
We know the abuse. We heard about the abuse. There is no way your family did not know that she was being abused inside that house.
They knew.
They knew, and you knew. And you guys didn't do a darn thing about it. Not one thing. You allowed him to abuse her, and now she's dead. Each and every one of you have blood on your hands.
Cassie actually eventually came out and talked to the protesters.
Thank you.
We want to know what the hell.
No,
We have fully cooperated with the police since September 11th when they called. I did not say that I saw my brother. I said I haven't been able to speak to him in reference to the time when I was called by the police. Since that point, I haven't been able to speak to my brother. I have been honest and correct. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. The thing about it is we know Gabby's family. Gabby is...
We do too.
What do you want us to do?
We cooperate with the police. We're not supposed to talk to anybody, and you're making my children cry.
Gave a new timeline. She said that she got a surprise visit from Brian along with her parents on September 1st when he returned home. She also said that she, her husband, and her kids went to Fort DeSoto with Brian and their parents. The next day, Cassie gave another interview to Good Morning America.
No, I do not know where Brian is. I'd turn him in.
Overnight, Cassie Laundrie attempting to set the record straight, speaking out for the first time since Gabby Petito's body was found and her brother Brian was reported missing, later named a person of interest in Petito's murder and wanted by the FBI in a fraud investigation.
I really wish he had come to me first that day with the van, because I don't think we'd be here. I worry about him. I hope he's okay, and then I'm angry and I don't know what to think. I would tell my brother to just come forward and get us out of this horrible mess.
And now detailing the last time she saw her brother.
The last time I physically saw it and the last time I physically spoke to my brother was on the 6th. I've tried to get in touch with him, phone went to voicemail.
Cassie sharing this photo exclusively with ABC News, showing Brian and his 5-year-old nephew camping at Fort DeSoto Park with their parents 5 days before Gabby was reported missing.
We just went for a couple of hours and we ate dinner and had s'mores around the campfire and left. And there was nothing peculiar about it. There was no feeling of grand goodbye. There was nothing. I'm frustrated that in hindsight I didn't pick up on anything. It was just a regular visit.
By the time Gabby was found 13 days later, Brian had already vanished. The day Cassie learned of his disappearance, she says she immediately told investigators about that camping trip.
It was not hidden from law enforcement. I've been cooperating with the police since day one. I have been in touch with law enforcement.
And now she's calling on her parents to do the same.
Justice for Gabby would look like having someone come forward and tell the truth. I don't know if my parents are involved. I think if they are, then they should come clean. I'd say Brian's a mediocre survivalist. It wouldn't surprise me if he could last out there a very long time. But also, I don't think anything would surprise me at this point. If the FBI finds him in Timbuktu, I'd be like, all right, well, that's where he was. I've got nothing. I hope my brother is alive because I want answers just as much as everybody else.
Says the body cam video from the Moab, Utah police encounter is hard to watch.
It's definitely painful to see everybody just be upset. It was pretty typical of them to argue and try and take space from each other, but people saying that they saw public domestic violence, I've never seen anything like that from either of them.
Now she wonders if more could have been done.
I definitely feel like if they had all of the 911 calls from the multiple people they said, that I think that it would have gone a lot differently and we'd be in a different situation.
As the days went on, the search for Dirtyfoot became more frenzied. There was actually a really popular theory that Brian was hiding in a bunker in his parents' backyard. This theory comes from drone footage that was taken of the Dirty Laundries doing gardening, and in the footage you can see Roberta supposedly pass a note underground. There were lots of psychics giving their opinions and
big message saying that Brian, and it was like a really deep voice, Brian Laundrie is in plain sight. He is with a relative. He's with somebody that is very close to him, that is hiding him.
This kid hit her more than just once. And the parents were well aware that he is a cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And they helped him escape, and he's around water, and the lawyer was in on it too. This was a very dysfunctional relationship, and they knew he was aggressive. But the schizophrenia happening now is why he took her life. So I do want to say too, there's something about a fire. I don't know if he had her near a fire or then took the fire away. I don't know, I just want to say fire. And he's definitely around water.
And there were a lot of people claiming to talk to Gabby's spirit.
Wow, that was very loud.
How did you do this to me?
Gabby, was Brian abusive? Was he trying to control you?
Always. Not so easy, but how did I get this? He said I needed him. I would never thought. How did you do this to me? We were in love. Now this.
People also had this theory that Brian was a serial killer and had killed other people. People were also mad at the police for letting Brian get away in the first place. And the police admitted, actually, that on the night Brian disappeared, they were monitoring him, but they mistook him for his mother, Roberta, because she was wearing a baseball cap and they have similar figures. Okay. On October 20th, the Dirty Laundries agreed to go with the FBI to the Carlton Reserve to show them routes that Brian hiked often, and just 30 minutes into their search, Roberta and Christopher found a dry bag belonging to Brian, as well as a notebook and some other personal belongings. Shortly after that, the FBI found skeletal remains nearby the belongings. And the next day, dental records did confirm that the remains were that of Brian Laundrie. The protesters still continued outside the Laundrie house.
To become the victim. You are a despicable family. We begged you to come out a month ago and help us find your son, and you decided to be cowards and stayed locked away in that home.
Gabby's life matters. As we know, Brian found today, to me, I believe he's in hell, burning in hell. And if these guys are involved, they're next.
The next day, a girl on TikTok found Gabby's water bottle in the area where Brian's remains were found.
There's a water bottle right here. Whoa, I just found something. Oh my god. Okay. I found something really, this is, I think, a water bottle. It says, it looks, I don't know, it could be, hold on. I'm not supposed to touch it, but I can't touch it, but it says, it's like Seattle, Washington.
But when she went to tell the police, they really didn't seem to care. It was like Brian was dead, case closed, it's over. Obviously, with such an anticlimactic ending to a story like this, a lot of people don't believe Brian is dead. Some people have gone as far as to say that Brian pulled out his own teeth to fake his own death, and that a toothless Brian is out there somewhere. Celebrities like Tana Mojo have even said that they believe this theory.
The other day I tweeted, I know Brian Laundrie is trying to pull a Joe Goldberg. And all of the responses were people being like, why would you make a joke out of this? It's so funny. And I said, I'm not joking. I genuinely think something was placed there so that people would think the remains were him. I think his parents showed up to the motherfucking forest with a tooth and a water bottle and whatever else they could find and a letter and a journal and whatever so that authorities would think he's dead when they know damn well he ain't dead. Why did the parents not start looking until they had to? Because they know their son's not dead. Why were his remains found 24 hours after his parents started searching? Because he's not dead. Brian Laundrie is pulling a Joe Goldberg. I guarantee you he's in like Paris, France right now, living his best life, getting a croissant. He is alive. And that's the tea.
Some people find it really weird that the FBI searched that reserve for months and found nothing. Then just 30 minutes after searching, the dirty laundries find him. But cops say that the area where Brian was found was actually underwater. And with how decomposed Brian was, it's likely that he died the night he disappeared. And that area is full of alligators and crabs, which probably ate Brian's skin all off. But some people find it weird that all of Brian's skin was gone, even with those animals. So far, Brian's cause of death has not yet been determined. Roberta Laundrie was seen wearing a black dress and a black veil, and they actually cremated Brian, which a lot of people find suspicious. The day that Brian's remains were discovered, the Laundrie family attorney, Stephen Bertolino, went on a media tour. He seemed really angry.
Why did you report it to the FBI, Mr. Bertolino? If they thought he needed to clear his mind and he's an avid hiker and camper, why were you calling or talking to them on Monday night or Tuesday morning saying, yikes, he hasn't come home? Why is it an issue?
Ashley, nobody said yikes, he hasn't come home, Ashley. So let's
Why would you report it to the FBI if he didn't come home, if he just needed to clear his mind?
Lose the word report. I was having conversations with the FBI a couple of times a day.
He said in one interview that Brian was grieving the night he disappeared, but he later backtracked.
I have heard you say on other interviews just in the last 24 hours that he was grieving. And anyone who is grieving is sad over death. Was he sad over the death of Gabby Petito when he was grieving prior to going out on his hike, from which he did not return?
And Ashley, as I've said, all day long, because I know I've been getting heat on the use of that word. Yesterday was a very long day. The day before that was a long day. One of the last interviews I gave of the evening, which was a last minute thing, I used the word grieving, which I had been using all day long with respect to Chris and Roberta and the news of the death of their son. I clarified that. I said he was upset. He was distressed. Chris described him to me as he was leaving. And this was several weeks later when Chris and I were talking about it. He said, Steve, you know, he was upset. He was distressed. I knew I shouldn't let him walk out the door, but I couldn't stop him. You know, I used the term grieving. It was probably a poor choice of words. And everybody has pounced on that and said, well, what was he grieving? Who was he grieving? You know,
a close friend of the Dirty Laundrie said that he believes the Dirty Laundries made a deal with authorities to show them where Brian's remains were in exchange for immunity from prosecution. The search for Brian Laundrie cost Florida taxpayers a lot of money. Actually, $1.5 million just in the first 7 days of the search. So that comes out to like $5 million during the whole time. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has also commented about Gabby.
So I was able to speak to Gabby Petito's father yesterday about, one, just checking up, see how he's doing, and seeing if there's anything we can do to help. Of course, state law enforcement has been helping with the search from the beginning. We're not obviously driving the train because you have the local and you have the FBI for the interstate. But, you know, he feels really strongly that there's more that can be done to protect people like Gabby who are victims of domestic violence. And I agree with him. He's a strong fella. I mean, it's a real, probably the worst blow you can receive is to lose a child. And she was just starting out in life, had a great future ahead of her. Obviously, you know, a very pretty young lady who everyone seemed to like. And so it's really, really sad. But it also, I think, a lot of us, at least me, you know, were angry that something like this would have happened. And we do want to get all the answers as soon as possible. And I know that would make him feel a lot better.
Multiple women have also come forward claiming to be the ex-girlfriend of Brian Laundrie. One woman named Gabriella Darling posted TikToks and Instagram posts.
2 years. Wow. I left him after year 2. And that's exactly how much time he was with Gabby before this happened. Apparently, we were both obsessed with butterflies. Me and Gabby. Right? Everyone was saying that I was copying her. That's a lie, because I already proved by uploading a photo of my butterfly tattoo that I got that tattoo when Gabby was still like 9 years old. Brian and Gabby share birthdays with my kids.
Another 27-year-old woman on TikTok called It's Jasmine 12 has come forward to say that she is an ex-girlfriend of Brian Laundrie's. She said that she knows Brian is not dead and that his family has connections to the police as well as the mafia. I personally do not believe this woman, but I thought I'd put it out there and let you guys decide. So yeah, that's the story of Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie. As always, I will see you very soon. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.